it can help with even a more personal connection because they're hearing your voice. So it's just another way to reach people in this world of, multimedia bombardment. There's people who listen versus people who read, and it meets that need for what we do.
This program is brought to you by thepodcastfactory.com.
I'm here with Lisa Rangel from Chameleon Resumes. How are you today, Lisa?
I'm doing great, thank you.
What was the obstacle that would have prevented you from starting your podcast?
I think what would have prevented me from starting the podcast is having to find all the audio people and all the tech aspects of what goes behind producing the podcast. I really had no interest in finding, the audio people or what platforms to put it on. Like, I just really tend to kind of get hung up on the tech stuff because I just don't want to do it or even hire the individuals to do it. I'd rather kind of like outsource it. And the fact that you did that was really helpful.
Why did you choose the Podcast Factory over other companies?
In all honesty, I didn't look at anyone else. I knew you and I respected who referred you and thought you did a really great job with other podcasts. And I tend to make decisions easy and quickly, and thought you were awesome from the get-go, so I just started.
And what did you find as a result of working with the Podcast Factory?
It's just easy peasy. I have deadlines of when I need to record. I have places where I need to upload the recording and the script, and then it just gets sent to us and when it's done, and we put it up on the website, and it's just everywhere it needs to be. It's just really easy.
And did you encounter any challenges implementing our solution?
No, I didn't really have any challenges. There's a lot that's needed sometimes to get it rolling in terms of an audience and a list. And you were really great about making sure that we had, checking those items off the box. I think doing the podcast in a vacuum doesn't necessarily help, but having it as a complement or as a tool amongst everything else the business has is where it can really accentuate and offer more information to the client or increase the reach on the marketing. And you made sure we had everything and you didn't just sell us a podcast, which was really great.
What would you say are 3 other benefits of working with the Podcast Factory?
My first gut instinct was easy, easy, easy. 3 benefits I would say are knowledgeable about ideas about coming up with the content that's digestible to audiences, so it's of value. Structuring the content so you really have like an endless stream of ideas. And lastly, I would say, I guess the technical expertise that really makes the behind the scenes pretty seamless and flawless. Like, I really don't know what you guys are doing behind the scenes, but the end product's there. So therefore, I feel like I'm winning because I don't really need to know, and it's there. So it's great.
So what benefits have you experienced from working on your podcast and with us?
The feedback I'm getting from my audience is that it's really more of a value add, and it's another way to experience my content. Not everyone reads. Some people listen, some people watch. So this kind of covers the people who listen category. And I've been told from my audience that it's another way to really digest the information and small snippets. It can help with even a more personal connection because they're hearing your voice. So I find that whether it's prospects or clients, that they find our podcast, the Pretend You're Fired Today podcast, more of a value add. It's just another way to reach people in this world of, multimedia bombardment. There's people who listen versus people who read, and it meets that need for what we do.
What specific results have you seen since you started your podcast?
It's really served as a reinforcement tool for what I send via email, what I put out on my blog, and what we do with clients. I know our team is often referencing different podcast episodes to cover coaching topics that they've discussed on coaching calls, or individuals that have bought our DIY product have referenced it to supplement what they've bought. So, I'm using it less as a overt marketing tool and more of a, free value add for both prospects and clients. And it's serving that need very nicely, although in all honesty, it's hard to quantify.
Would you recommend the Podcast Factory? And if so, why?
Absolutely. I would recommend the Podcast Factory. You guys just really make it easy. I'm an entrepreneur that tends to not be at a computer very often, except for the recording. It's really not a very huge time commitment, and you guys take care of everything. So, outside of me producing the content and producing the recording, which I have tons of, you've helped me translate that into content and then make it really easy once I record it to get it produced.
Is there anything else you'd like to add?
Easy.
This is thepodcastfactory.com.